Hey friends, welcome here. Today I'm going to be talking about how I go about dealing with impatience starting to creep in terms of my communication interactions with my children and how I just go about handling that. So I'm just going to go through different things. I'm going to talk about the personal reflection I do upon myself, assessing my kids, and their behavior, and then going into then what do I kind of practically do to kind of help the situation if I'm noticing that I'm becoming more impatient with the children. The first thing I do is evaluate myself and check my heart posture. So I ask myself things like, am I resisting my vocation right now? Is there something that's going on that's making me resent what I'm doing every day? Am I resenting my motherhood? Maybe because there's just a lot of demands on me and I am lazy or I'm just kind of tired. And so those feelings, those kinds of resentments are creeping in, and therefore I'm taking it out on my kids. Maybe I'm just having a bad attitude about life. Maybe I'm just being crummy and kind of being a drag about maybe there's just changes going on in our lives, maybe something going on in my marriage that's just kind of making me drag my feet. Maybe I'm just feeling kind of spiritually dry, and so all of those factors mixed together is making me a more irritable person, and therefore I'm more impatient with the children. As well, then I go to evaluating my day and if I'm truly doing my duty of the moment. Because the reality is, when you get interrupted a lot, every interruption you get a little irked every single time. And if that compiles, once that's compiles together, it's really easy, therefore, to take it out on the people around you and the people who are primarily around me and the people who are primarily around most moms are their family, are their children, or children in particular that they're with through most of the day. And so I just evaluate, okay, am I trying to get too much done in a day? Am I going on my phone too much? Am I trying to get projects done that don't necessarily need to be done in the time that I'm doing them or throughout the day? Can they wait? And that's maybe why I'm getting impatient, is because I'm just constantly being interrupted. And that's just the reality of life. You're going to get interrupted, but you obviously have the power to choose what you're getting interrupted by and how often you get interrupted by just discerning, is this really the thing that I need to be doing right now? Is this really my duty of the moment? Can I check these things later? Should I find a better time to do them? Maybe I shouldn't be checking these things as often, or putting aside these tasks until it makes more sense to do them instead of, putting myself in a position where I'm tempted to get irritated if I get interrupted. And then I evaluate the disciplines in my own life. So I look at, okay, how am I eating? What's my prayer life like? Have I been disciplining myself to go to bed on time? Because sleep is a huge thing. And if you're not getting enough sleep at night, then you're going to be kind of running on low energy throughout the day, and that's going to affect how snippy or irritable you are towards the people around you. And often that can just be mitigated by disciplining yourself to go to bed early. For me, I definitely still struggle with going to bed on time. I mean, I definitely make movements once 9 o'clock starts hitting, kind of start trying to wrap up that which I'm doing. But yeah, there are definitely times and seasons where I'm not as on it as I should be. I'm not, taking the time, making the steps towards going to bed that I should, so that I'm in bed on time and not rushing myself to get there. And so that's definitely something that I'm pretty mindful of, because I have a lot of small children. They're all boys. They have a lot of energy, that I need the energy to raise them well, to take care of them, and that I'm not shortchanging them in terms of my patience towards them because of my lack of discipline. And then I look at my marriage. My marriage, the dynamic that's going on between my husband and wife makes a huge impact on the atmosphere of our home, my attitudes towards the kids. And so I just kind of evaluate that, and I just ask myself, okay, like, how are things with my husband? Are we good? Are there this like unresolved conflict that we need to deal with? Are we maybe not on the same page when it comes to disciplining our kids? Or, just like we need to start getting on the same page about the behavioral things that are going on, which is maybe causing the irritation towards the children because of their bad behavior, things like that. And sometimes that really helps, and it really helps us to, we have marriage meetings pretty regularly where we just go through the different kind of segments of life, our own personal spiritual lives, just practical stuff like in regards to the house, us, things between us that need to get resolved or worked through. And then the kids, how are the kids doing? What behaviors are we noticing? What dynamics are we noticing? And, trying to resolve or, just keep each other up to date on those things. And so if we're kind of behind on that and maybe we're not on the same page, that can also be a contributing factor as to why I'm starting to get more impatient with the children. The next thing I do and the next segment I'm kind of getting into is assessing my children. And I kind of look at their behavior and ask myself, okay, maybe it is me, maybe it's not. Usually it's both. It's not usually just one thing or the other. It's not just me and just the kids. It's usually a bit of both. And I look at their behavior and ask myself, is there disobedience that I'm letting slide? Or is there just general bad behavior that I'm kind of being complacent about and dismissive about? And that's causing in them to become more irritable and unpleasant to be around. And therefore, I'm getting more impatient with them, which is ultimately on me. As a parent, if I'm dropping the ball in disciplining my kids, forming them, correcting their bad behavior, and just, making them enjoyable children to be around, obedient, respectful, good listening children. Like that's my job to be forming and shaping them. And if I'm getting ticked off at them or annoyed with them because they're irritating and their behavior is just unacceptable and unpleasant to be around, well, that's my job to correct that. And if I'm not doing that, if I'm not doing the things, if I'm not disciplining, if I'm not making consequences, if I'm not doing the timeouts or, having conversations with my kids and therefore they're annoying, that's kind of on me that I let that kind of behavior slide. And so I usually just go back to the basics of, okay, practicing and making sure I'm honing in on like these key behavioral things that are important for us, which is first time obedience, doing what I say right away when I tell them to do something, and not complaining and whining when they don't want to do something or I'm giving them an instruction and they want to do something else. So those three things are just basic behavioral things that you run into a day. Like those are kind of like the fundamental attitudes that constantly come up throughout the day, and just kind of honing that in, dialing that in, making sure that's all good. And if that is all good, then, realizing that maybe it's something else. There's also a possibility that I'm getting impatient with them because maybe I'm, for whatever reason in this season, expecting too much from them. Obviously, we want our kids to have good behavior. We want them to honor their father and mother and to do the things that we want them to do, be respectful, and yeah, just like have good behavior in general. But sometimes maybe within that sphere of child training and disciplining your children, you're just going too hard on them, and it would actually benefit them and benefit the situation and alleviate the irritation with them if you were just a bit more merciful with them. And I've definitely noticed that with my kids, that sometimes I'm just being too much. I'm just kind of expecting too much, demanding too much. Discipline is too everything is so grim and serious, and I'm kind of like barking orders at them like a drill sergeant, and that's not really cultivating in them a love for me nor a love for the rule in which I'm trying to set. I'm not balancing the discipline or the kind of more like the strict instructions and things like that with love and mercy and tenderness and sweetness. Usually with children, one, the fun thing, you make something fun. That's kind of the way to really get them to do that which you want them to do. Obviously, you can't do that all the time. And also TLC, putting honey on stuff. Everything is kind of in a more just like gentle, inviting, sweet manner usually is a greater or a better plan for going about them doing something you want them to do or them listening to you rather than being a drill sergeant. But again, sometimes when you're tired and you're just short and you don't have a lot of capacities, it can definitely be a big temptation to expect too much, to be too hard, and really a lot of the impatience and irritation would be resolved by just going a little easy on them. So anyways, I just wanted to acknowledge that it also definitely might not, it's definitely usually a bit of both. It's not just kids or just you and what you're maybe not doing. It's usually a conglomerate of both, but those are definitely the two areas. And those or within those areas, those are the kinds of things I kind of go through to evaluate, where the impatience might be coming from. And so, okay, once I establish kind of all those things, once I kind of grab all my reflections and I realize that I'm being more impatient and I want to obviously change that, I want to change my heart towards them, I want to change my attitude and disposition towards them. The following things are things I do to go about resolving that or lessening the impatience towards them. So the first thing is I do less. I just kind of drop what I'm doing, a lot of what I'm doing, what I usually do. I look at my week if there's just too much going on or if there's things that I can't cancel, just, being mindful for the following weeks ahead to just do less because sometimes maybe the impatience is coming from too many visits planned, too many events that you're attending. They're not maybe getting enough rest or reset that they need, to be their best selves. I'm, subconsciously stressed or tired from all of these events, and that's causing impatience. So to just do less, to take it easy and kind of give everybody a breather. That's one of the things that I kind of do when I notice there's just tension and impatience running high in my interactions with my kids or in our home in general. And throughout the day, I just kind of take it easy. Like I take a break from my routine. Kids love you just being around them. Obviously, it's nice to play Legos with them sometimes or do what they're doing. But at least for my kids, they don't mind and they seem to be just as happy and content with me doing nothing and just lying on the mat on my back while they're playing around me and chit-chatting and, we're talking about random things. They're showing me their creations, explaining to me what they're building and stuff like that. And I just sit there and lie there and just relax. And they don't seem to mind at all. And I find when stresses are high, that usually does just a lot. One, to change my my heart posture towards them, where I just remind myself that, hey, like I love my kids. I just want to be with my kids. There's like nothing else that I really need to do in a day right now or in this moment that is so pressing that I can't lie here for, 5 to 10 minutes with them doing nothing. Like I'm not even doing anything and just lying here, spending quality time with them while they do their own thing. And if, especially, there is kind of this tension that's going on between us, me just being there with them kind of alleviates that tension too because they feel love, they feel the attention that I'm giving them. And it's just a reminder to them that mommy loves them and mommy has time for them. I have time to just rest and to be with them and to not let, my daily duties and daily tasks, maybe of dishes or laundry or cleaning up some stuff, become one that's like maybe idolatrous thing or just like so, as if it's so pressing that I need to do all of these things right now that I can't spend some time in the day to just be with my children. And so just doing those things, like doing just like a really basic thing of just dropping a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, just hanging out with my kids often does a lot to alleviate the impatience or the tension that is kind of going on within our family. The next thing I do is just be more intentional in the way that I communicate. I try to make sure that when I'm talking to them, that I'm not just calling out an order into the abyss or just saying something and not really sure if I actually have their full attention, but to, call out their name. Hey, Xavier, look at me. Okay, I want you to go do this thing. And so just like being slower in my communication, in my movements, more intentional with how I'm communicating with them. Because maybe or sometimes for us, for me, the impatience is coming from how like things just aren't moving as fast as they should in a sense where it's like I said this thing and it feels like it's not there, it's not computing to them. And sometimes it's genuinely not like they're not processing what I'm saying because I don't have their full attention and I'm expecting them to just kind of snap out whatever they're doing and listen to what I'm saying. And that's just not the case with kids. And, you very often hear the tactic to go up to your kid, make sure you touch them so that they know that you have their attention and that is, yeah, like just like an intentional interaction. But yeah, like obviously if I'm like across the room or I'm in the kitchen, I'm doing something, I need something to get done. I can't just like, I might not be able to just drop whatever I'm doing and go and talk to him. But to make sure, like call out to him and like lock in on eye contact and communicate what I need at that point, and then ask him like, "Do you understand what I need, or do you understand like, can I get a yes, mommy?" And doing that helps to just make sure, okay, it's not just like they're not just being negligent or intentionally having bad behavior. I need to do my part in being more intentional about how I communicate with them if there's something that I want them to do or to get done. And then the next thing is with that, just being, yeah, again, more merciful. Not letting things slide in the sense of being like flippant about bad behavior or anything like that, but even just like, yeah, going about things in a more merciful manner. And I say this a lot to the kids, like if they do something and it's like they do it again, but it like you could tell it wasn't like a malicious thing, like they're just kind of being absent-minded or something like that. It's like I'll go up to them and be like, "This is your warning. I'm gonna be merciful this time. If I do see it again, whatever, this is the consequence." But like not to just like at the immediate onset of them, doing something or, giving them a second chance, so to speak, to make up for flubbing up the first time. Just to be more compassionate and more merciful. And then alongside that, to just give more physical affection, sitting down on the couch more, just like giving them hugs, like randomly giving hugs, coming up to them and being like, I love you. I love that I'm your mommy. I love that you're my son. Can I do something with you? Just kind of like reinvigorating for your own self, like the love and affection you ought to have towards your children and that you do truly have, but maybe in this season of life or whatever you're going through, you don't necessarily feel like that. But if to reaffirm that constantly throughout the day, especially when you're not feeling it, it's just to stir up that love again for you so that you can grow in love towards them. And then for them to have like a reaffirmation that, okay, maybe it's been a hard few days or I haven't been feeling this. I haven't been feeling loved lately, but oh, mom's telling me that she loves me. She's been showing it more. And obviously that just naturally in them re kind of reignites the bond because especially at this age with kids, it's like they're so forgiving. And even if like you haven't been the best to them, I don't know how much they actually feel it in a very concrete manner where it's like, oh, things have been great lately. Like I don't know how much they necessarily feel like that, but maybe just like in the way they're interacting with you, you can tell that yeah, maybe they just haven't been feeling loved. And for whatever reason, maybe that's the kind of thing that you didn't even realize that they needed, and it's just definitely easy to miss stuff. Like if things are busy, maybe you're expecting another baby or you're going through a move or job changes, all the conglomerate of things that happen in life, and without you realizing it, you haven't been giving your kids like the time and attention and love that they've been needing. So just to like lay a heavy on all the good things, in case to fill in the cracks that potentially you've been missing in the last little bit. I don't think that hurts at all, and if anything, it helps the relationship more and more. So those are the few things that I do to handle when I'm starting to get impatient with my kids. Yeah, and so my intention for all of this is just to give some thoughts to maybe if you've been feeling kind of impatient towards your kids, maybe things to think about and ponder as you try to resolve that, and some words of encouragement, and to just reassure you that, yeah, you're not alone on this journey either. So thanks again for joining me this week, and I'll see you next time.